Hello, humans. Today we are reacting to the final astronaut that I have not reacted to from the Artemis 2 mission, Jeremy Hansen. He's the Canadian one. So this video is from Spaceflight Now. I have watched videos on all three of the other astronauts from this channel. This channel is linked down below. I would highly encourage you to go watch the video there, like it, subscribe to it, and let's get into reacting to this video.
The first non-American to fly on a mission to the moon is Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen. Spend any amount.
Really? He's the first non-American to ever fly on a mission to the moon? I mean, they didn't even go to the moon. I mean, they orbited it, but they didn't, go to it. I thought the Russians sent up... Didn't the Russians send up someone to orbit it back in the 60s? And you're telling me there's been no other nationality of person other than United States to ever go and orbit the moon? Interesting. I don't know if I believe that, but I guess I'll have to look that up. I don't really know, but that's pretty shocking to me if it's true.
Of time with him, and you can most certainly appreciate his dry sense of humor.
Yeah, Canada did get more than its fair share of the volume on this mission by assigning me to this. And I've heard it acknowledged many times, so I'm getting a little bit conscious about my size.
Pump Bravo, Auto Center.
Towering at more than 6 feet tall, Hansen's journey to the Orion spacecraft and his first mission to space began when he was a kid.
As I understand it, they had a sub in for him that was also Canadian. So in case he couldn't make it, they also had a Canadian stand-in that was training along with them that could make it. And then they also had an American sub in. If one of the American crew couldn't make it, they would sub in an American astronaut that was training with them along. So when they were doing all this training for the Artemis 2, there were 6 of them training. It was the 4 primaries and then the 2 sub-ins, 1 Canadian, 1 American. So I find it really interesting that they were dead set on getting a Canadian to the moon.
I grew up on a farm outside of London, Ontario, and for some reason I was interested in aviation as a young child, and I specifically remember opening up Encyclopedia A, which was a book before we had the internet, and looking in there for airplanes, but coming across Armstrong, Neil Armstrong, the first human to walk on the moon, and a picture of a human standing on the moon, and it still burnt. That page is still burnt in my brain. And from there on forward, I changed my treehouse into a rocket ship. I had dials, I had gauges, I was going on space missions. I've been inspired by space exploration from an early age, and so.
You know what's really cool? I know it took us a long time. I'm usually very critical of why it took us 50 years to go from landing on the moon to trying to go to the moon again, But it is cool that it was that amount of time, in the sense that the kids who were inspired in the 60s are growing up to become the adults that are, going back. So that is a really cool, time jump kind of thing. If it had been any longer amount of time, you wouldn't have necessarily had that. It probably would have been kids who were inspired in the 60s couldn't go because they were too old. Or, kids who were inspired in the 70s and 80s couldn't go because they were too old. So we got within a realm of a generation could be inspired by more recent events in the 60s and then grow up to, pursue those events in the modern age. So that is a cool thing that happens, but I'm still shocked that it took us this long to realize the dream of space travel.
So this really is full circle for me. It's kind of where it began, going back to the moon.
Growing up on that farm in Ontario, Canada, in 1988, 12-year-old Jeremy joined the 614 Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron and earned his Air Cadet glider pilot wings 4 years later.
Nice. So Christina Cook, then, is the only one who didn't come from a military background, it seems. All 3 others came from a military background.
17 years old, he had his private pilot's license and was accepted into the Royal Military College, St. John. By 1999, he graduated with a degree in Honours Space Science from the Royal Military College of Canada in Kingston, Ontario.
After finishing my bachelor's degree, there was a delay in pilot training. So I decided to stay at the college and pursue a master's degree, which really was excellent timing for me. And I was able to finish that before I moved on to pilot training. I received my military wings, and then I asked to be a fighter jet pilot. And so I moved to Cold Lake, Alberta, and started training on the CF-18.
I think was it Victor Glover who was also a fighter pilot? Or was it Reed Weissman? No, I think Victor Glover came from the Navy. Reed Weissman came from the Air Force. So the commander of the mission, Reed Weissman, he was also a fighter pilot, I believe. And he flew combat missions, if I'm remembering correctly, in Afghanistan, Iraq in the early 2000s.
All of my fighter pilot career was actually spent in Cold Lake.
Hansen's next big leap in life was being selected in 2009 as one of 2 new recruits to join the Canadian astronaut recruitment campaign. He trained as part of NASA's 2009 astronaut class, nicknamed the Chumps. Among those classmates, future Artemis II crewmate Reed Weissman. After graduating from astronaut...
So, Christina Cook trained with Victor Glover. They were in the same training class, and now Jeremy Hansen is in the same training class as Reed Weissman. So that's really cool how they would have known each other from the very inception of their journey in the astronaut program. I wonder if NASA did that deliberately, because they knew they had been together a long time. They knew each other for a long time. There would be some camaraderie, some respect, some sense of how each other worked. I wonder if they did that on purpose or if that was just coincidental.
Training in 2011, Hansen began working as a Capcom in Mission Control Center Houston, one of the voices between the ground and the International Space Station.
Capcom, I learned, meaning capsule communication.
Cool heads prevailed, and your preparation really showed. So nice work to both of you, and a debt of gratitude from the whole team.
Hansen's leadership skills continued to foster when, in 2013, he served as the commander for an underground training exercise organized by the European Space Agency called CAVES.
This expedition for us is very similar to life on the International Space.
Life on the Life on the International Space Station is like crawling through a cave. That doesn't say much about life on the ISS. But that caves thing, I want to do that. Now that I know it exists, I want to do it. I love caves. Caves are so fascinating to me. I don't get claustrophobic very often, or at all. I don't get claustrophobic at all. And so caves are no problem for me. I actually embrace the dark. I love being in total darkness. It's such a cool experience to be in utter, complete, total darkness. So much so that your eyes don't even adjust. I love caves. Caves are my thing. I would love to do this experience.
Station, because we're doing science in this cave on behalf of scientists who aren't here. And on Space Station, the exact same thing happens.
Hansen went on to participate in an underwater expedition called...
I want to do that too. I want to do all these things. I should just train to be an astronaut because all these things that they're doing to train seem like the most fascinating things to me. I love the ocean. I've always wanted to go in like some sort of submarine with like a big glass dome on the front where I can go down into the ocean and see sea creatures and plants and life. And like, this looks like my paradise. I want to be however far under the ocean they are. I want to be trapped down there, and just experience life under the ocean. That would be so cool.
Nemo 19 in 2014, and then became the first Canadian to lead a NASA astronaut class. That was the 2017 astronaut class named the Turtles.
An F-18 pilot and a Canadian astronaut. Your mission specialist, Jeremy Hansen.
Perhaps the biggest moment in his career so far, though, was being selected for his first spaceflight, Artemis II. Like his colleagues on the mission, Hansen recognizes the importance of this mission in the overall Artemis architecture.
We're very clear on our mission. We are just a stepping stone on taking humanity back to the surface of the moon. So what we're, as a crew, most looking forward to is executing successfully to set up our future colleagues for success so they can go back and take
Yeah.
humanity to the surface of the moon. So that's really
That makes
important to
sense.
us. And we try to filter everything we're doing through that lens. What can we do with this mission to make it better for the future missions? We think a lot about that. And even if it doesn't specifically apply to our mission, we're trying to put ourselves in the shoes of the future crews. So that's super important that we have that approach as a team. How do we buy down risk and get ready for these future missions?
And that was what I understand is that was the whole point of the Artemis 2 mission. It's kind of like a shakedown of systems, processes, policies for future missions that will eventually go to the moon. And then I thought Artemis 3 was supposed to go to the moon, but now I'm hearing that Artemis 3 is another shakedown, and then Artemis 4 will go to the moon. So I'm going to have to look more into that. I don't really know the difference between the missions in the future and what their purposes are, nor do I understand why you would do another shakedown mission if this one was so successful and worked out the way it was supposed to.
Me personally, Jeremy Hansen, I've never left planet Earth. I'm excited to do that. I'm really excited to see the moon up close. I'm super excited to view.
Okay, so then he's the only one that had not been to space before. Because the other three, the Americans, all three of them had been to space before. All three of them had served on the ISS at one point or another. So he's the only one that this was his first time experience in space. That's got to be really cool and also a little bit intimidating, I'm sure. Is like all these other three are going to get up there and know exactly what they're doing in space. And I'm going to be like the kid in the candy shop and like experiencing this for the first time and have to like dial down probably my excitement of floating for the first time in space because we have a mission to do and these three other will be used to it already. You know, that's got to be a little bit of a dichotomy there.
The Earth. It's so obvious to me that my colleagues that have been to space, it really had just a profound impact on them. It's a beautiful experience. I think it's a real privilege as a human to have that opportunity. I'm looking forward to just looking out the window a little bit.
Artemis
Indeed.
2 marks the first time that humans will leave low Earth orbit since Apollo 17 in 1972.
Isn't that crazy?
It's also the first time that a non-American will venture into deep space.
Okay,
And to my
if
fellow
you say so.
Canadians, you should also be extraordinarily proud that we are represented in the Artemis program. And it wasn't a gift, you earned it. For over decades now, you have responded to that call, to that opportunity with a can-do attitude.
Yes, as I understand it, Canada has been highly active in NASA for many decades. So this is a well-deserved like thing that they're getting. At first, I was like, why are they sending a Canadian to the moon with the Americans? But you know, nothing against Canadians. I was just curious. I was just confused. And yeah, I looked into it, and it looks like Canada has played a very active role in NASA for many, many, many years. Both with funding and providing equipment and providing space for training and all sorts of things. They have been very active in NASA, so it's well earned that they finally get an astronaut into space.
And you have used strategic investments, and you have innovated and created things like Canadarm and many other examples that have put us in this position where we can earn our place on the global stage. And that's extraordinary. That is our can-do attitude.
The mission itself is roughly 10 days long upon leaving the planet, but Hansen and his colleagues believe Artemis 2 can be more powerful than just a week and a half on a calendar.
When I think about the four of us flying around the far side of the moon, coming around, seeing that Earth rise, taking images and video and sending them back to you, the feeling that I have inside is hope. I just imagine when that is going to be like. And we know that Artemis 2 is not the solution for humanity on planet Earth, but it is a contribution in the positive column. We hope that...
I still don't understand the purpose. I'll have to do more. I mean, he just said it's not the solution. Are they looking for a solution? What's the problem that needs a solution? Is there a problem with Earth? Is this going to be a sci-fi movie where we all have to leave Earth someday? I don't think so. I'm planning to stay here till I die. I probably will. I probably will have no opportunity but to do that, realistically. But why are we going to... Is it just for exploration's sake? Is it because we think we can do more out there? Is it because we think there's more to discover that's of vital importance to life here? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Why are we going to space at all? exploration, other military assets, whatever.
Just for a moment that people will pause and say, wow, it's extraordinary when you look back upon the Earth with over 8 billion people. And you see this concrete example of what humanity can do, this extraordinary thing when we set big goals and we work together to achieve them.
Reporting for
Amen to
Spaceflight
that.
Now, I'm Will Robinson Smith.
Cool. Again, this channel is linked down in the description. Go check them out. You can watch this full video without me pausing for commentary. I appreciate you watching my channel. I appreciate it. I'm putting this work into it. I appreciate people actually watching it. I have, as of making this video, I have 24 subscribers. So to the 24 of you who have clicked the subscribe button, I appreciate you. And then I also see comments here and there from people who watch my videos. I appreciate comments as well. Thank you for commenting. A like would be appreciated. And then, if you're not subscribed, thank you for watching anyways. I appreciate it. Subscribe would be appreciated, but it's your life. You can do what you want with it. So until next time, have a great day on Earth.